Shockingly, we will never in our day see gender equality. That's what I want to talk about today in this episode. But on a happier note, the theme of International Women's Day and how that theme could actually propel us forward. And today I'm going to talk about accelerating action for International Women's Day, really for our future. So it is International Women's Day, March 8th, every year. It's a really important day. I hope you celebrate it by attending or listening to some sort of International Women's Day event. There are so many all over the place. I'm usually booked and overcommitted to too many events this year because my family has a major trip planned. I have decided to just step back. And actually, one of my points today is going to speak a little bit to the one of the things you can do towards this theme. So, International Women's Day and this celebrating this really achievement and need for us to be moving forward as women, as a gender. There are many strides that women have made in leadership roles. And the theme for this year is accelerating action. And the reason being, I read on their website, and this is like I'm quoting, at the current rate of progress, it will take until 2158, which is roughly 5 generations from now, to reach full gender parity, according to the data from the World Economic Forum. And the scariest part is it seems like we're going backwards in a lot of countries in the world, taking away the women's rights that we have earned, that we have fought for. Not me specifically necessarily, but we as a gender have fought for decades to try to be able to vote and wear what we want and have education, and all these pieces in a lot of countries is being eradicated, is being pulled back, and it's horrible. However, we're going to focus on this. This is what they say on the website. And this is the internationalwomensday.com website. It's the /2025 theme. I'll put the link in the notes. So this is continued, focusing on the need to accelerate action emphasizes the importance of taking swift and decisive steps to achieve gender equality. It calls for increased momentum and urgency in addressing the systemic barriers and biases that women face, both in personal and professional spheres. And this a lot of times is pointed to the Western world, and I will acknowledge the privilege that I have being a Caucasian woman in Canada. There you go. And so for all the women in other countries where women have zero or no or less rights, my heart aches for you. For the women in the same country as me who are marginalized, my BIPOC communities, like, man, we stand with you. And as women, as a gender, we really need to break these barriers. So I'm going to talk today about how to accelerate action. There's actually a list on the website. You can check it out on the International Women's Day website. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about women redefining success and leadership. So the first piece, there is something called the glass ceiling, right? There's the glass ceiling. And here's a stat that I pulled from wbcollaborative.org. As of 2024, women holding approximately 7.8% of CEO positions in S&P 500 companies, and a slight decrease from 8.2% in 2023. That's pretty sad. Less than 10% of these CEO positions are held by women. How are we going to change the economy, the industries, business, society, if we don't have as many people in these roles? And when I was preparing last year for my International Women's Day event for the LEAP conference for women in construction, I pulled up more facts around the broken rung phenomenon. And this actually is where I focus my energy more than breaking the glass ceiling, because I think that's been around for decades and people are like, well, I can't get to the top. And the reason is the first rung of the ladder is broken, right? Meaning you can't even get up the ladder to break the glass ceiling because you can't get past that first or second, one of the lower rungs. And if you can't get past that, you can't get up the ladder. So stats from McKinsey.com say despite these advancements, women often face challenges such as gender bias and the rung phenomenon, where for every 100 men promoted to manager, this is just manager, this is not CEO, just manager, only 81 women are promoted. So we're less. We're less. And so that number just gets less and less and less all the way up to less than 10%, right? So if we can just focus on how do we move ourselves up to manager, getting sponsors in the company, meaning people who will vouch for you, people who will be in the boardroom and say your name, people who will mentor you to that next piece, and people who have the power to choose the woman, right? When there is an option. And, a lot of times because I coach women, I talk about taking these things back into your own hands, seeing how you can fill in that rung or, basically jump past it. It might mean you have to go to a different company to be able to do that. Who knows? But the onus shouldn't always be on the woman to figure out how to get up the ladder. I think it should be those who are in the company with more authority in that the org chart of the organizational chart of the company, people above them. There should be kind of like succession planning and building of leaders, younger leaders, inexperienced leaders, building them up in equality, women and men. Because we know, right, we lose a lot of women in the workforce due to pregnancies and having children, and that's fantastic. And women are totally able to make their choice for themselves. But we really need to put more energy into it. The second thing beyond the breaking the glass ceiling and being able to get past that broken rung is shifting from these shoulds to true success. And so, when we think of traditional metrics of success, we think of titles, we think of salaries, we think of promotions, and then we think of what you can do because you have that. You have the money, you buy a bigger house. You have the money, you buy a nicer car. You have the money, you go on lavish vacations or buy your Chanel bag or whatever it may be. But these ideas are evolving, right? As I speak more about, let's switch from uh, really measuring our life according to success and let's measure our life according to satisfaction. And I really believe that, and I'm seeing it in a lot of the younger generation, they're valuing their life balance and their mental health and freedom a little bit more than maybe my generation or those ahead of me would for loyalty and commitment and just hustle, right? Hustle and just not letting anything phase us and sticking to what we said we would do and like showing up for work. But many women, they're now prioritizing purpose-driven leadership and values-based business models. And I love that. And a lot of companies are doing really well when they are value-based, right? So there's not just about making a quick buck. It might be about giving back to charity, about building a sustainable or an ethical business, about hiring local, about producing local, purpose-driven leadership. It might be around actually supporting the customer and the client rather than just increasing the profit margins. And so what we can do in our own lives is shift from those shoulds, like I should do this, I should do that, to what do I really, really want? And stop measuring our lives according to success and start measuring our lives according to satisfaction. I mean, I'll be preaching that like forever. I'll be preaching that forever. It's a simple shift. When you wake up tomorrow, ask yourself, what do I want? What do I want? What do I want today? And you may be like, well, I'm already committed all day. Yeah, but maybe you have 10 minutes. And what do you want in that time? And then what do you want for 3 months from now? What do you want in your free time on the weekend? And what do you want a year from now? What do you want five years from now? And what will truly, truly make you happy? Not just what will make you successful or be perceived as successful from external achievements. And then the last piece is let's lead with confidence and authenticity. Like there are so many different leadership styles, whether you are a servant leader or believe in service leadership. We have an author speaking about that in our Dynamic Women Leadership Secrets book. But we need to embrace all these different leadership styles, right? This is going to help us as women to lead more effectively and fulfill our careers. So we're not just stepping into the shoes of the potentially the man before us or the woman who had to act like a man to get into that position before us. We get to show up in our leadership style, and we have very, very special leadership styles as women. And so we need to tap into those qualities and really just show up as who we are. And even if people think we're a little bit too much, let's take up some space because it's obvious in the world that we are going to be honest, have to be honest and blunt and bold and be not aggressive, but assertive in how we show up. And that's something you can do every day, right? Is speak to what is important to you. If we go back to the values-based business model, purpose-driven leadership, we can also have that for our lives. What is our value-based life? What is our purpose-driven life? And how are we going to show up that way? And really focusing for ourselves and for the teams we're growing, or for the employees we're leading, or for even just our family and friends. What strategies can we use to leverage emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence is huge, huge for being able to know ourselves and to be able to show up, right? Honoring how we feel, being aware and intuitive of that, and then taking the next step, not only for ourselves, but our interaction with others. And that also brings us to the other piece of this, the other piece of leading with confidence and authenticity is to foster inclusive environments. We've heard recently about major government not honoring DEI anymore. And whatever you believe around culture or gender or whatever it may be, we need to foster inclusivity. Even if everyone is exactly the same and everyone likes each other and there's no major differences, we still need to make sure everyone feels included. Now, that doesn't mean that if you're a solar business owner, you need to make sure everyone in the world sees themselves as your client or your customer. No, I mean, the environments that we're creating need to feel inclusive, that people are welcome to be there. And if you, though, make a group that is just for your culture or your community or your faith, that's okay. But if someone is curious and wants to find out more, do you open the door to them? Do you have a loving conversation? Do you allow curiosity? And if you are doing a more general, like a workplace with a whole bunch of different kinds of people, do people feel supported? Do people feel heard? Do people feel like they belong and they are honored, supported, cheered on for their own skills and talents and ways of being? So when we think back, kind of wrap it up here, accelerating action means let's speed this up. Let's not wait till 2158 to have gender equality. Let's not have us go backwards for how things are. Let's define our success on our own terms. Let us remake the ladder to have there be no broken rungs, even if it means we let someone else hold on to our ladder and help them up. And let's take some bold steps towards authentic leadership, right? Authentic leadership and lead with confidence. Let's be bold. Let's take up space. Screw the way things have been, and let's move forward in the way they should be. Lots there. Lots there. I trust if you've listened this far, you're on point with what I'm saying. And if you want to, continue the conversation, or this brings up like, I don't know how to do this piece. I don't know how to take bold action. I don't know how to measure my life according to satisfaction rather than success, or whatever it may be, reach out to me, Diane at DianeRolston.com. Please subscribe, share this with a friend, and until next time, stay dynamic.